The following program is intended for mature audiences.
A democratic republic of sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene.
Welcome into the Wicked Weed Studios, wickedweedbrewing.com. Drink different. I'm Jeremy Greene, this is Brian Haynes, and this is the Sportsocracy. Last night didn't go my way. On a scale of 1 to my way, last night was a epic fucking disaster.
Yeah, Monty Morris.
Monty Morris, I hate you with the fire of 1,000 suns. I talk nicely about you, and then you poop in your pants on national television.
Yeah.
But that's not what I want to start with.
Yes, sir.
The Milwaukee Bucks are absolutely god-awful. I mean, they're done like dinner. I don't know that I've ever seen a player that's so good, that looks so average when he's playing against high-level competition as Chris Middleton.
It was so bad that the starting five for the Bucks all ended. Three of the four players ended with a negative over 20. So they had Giannis was negative 22, Chris Middleton was negative 30, Drew Holiday was negative 27. I mean, and then on the bench, Bobby Portis was negative 26, Connaughton was negative 21, Forbes was negative 22. I mean, it was just an absolute destruction. You can't lose by 40 in a playoff game to a team that is missing one of their stars and think that this series isn't going to be completely over.
I mean, it's done like that. I mean, there's no doubt. There's nothing Milwaukee can do, in my opinion. They just look defeated. I mean, even watching them play, they look listless. Mm-hmm. And you know what the number one takeaway I had from last night was? How many free throws did they shoot that weren't Giannis? As a team. There's 2.
Wow.
They shot 2 free throws as a team that wasn't Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah.
That's pitiful. I mean, and yes, the Nets did it too, but the Nets are a jump shooting team.
Yeah.
I said coming into this series, the one thing they had was that Giannis could drive the basket and there was nobody that could stop him.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was wrong about that.
Yeah.
Because Blake Griffin apparently can. Apparently that's enough to keep them from doing that.
Blake Griffin has played so well these first 2 games, and I know that his first game was 18 and 14, and this one you're only seeing 7 and 8, but it's his defense that's actually surprising me. He's decided to take on that role, and he's running with it. I think he's realized what he can do at this point in his career, and he knows what he has to do to help this team out, and it's pretty impressive. And not only that, I'm seeing a lot more defense from Brooklyn than I actually thought that as a team that they could actually do. And and let's be clear here, no one can stop Kevin Durant. It's just, you cannot stop him. There's not even any sort of containing him. And the way that they're playing, everything that the narrative that we kind of spoke about these Nets, they're just turning it all around on us. I mean, they're just, I think everything they've heard from everywhere, not even just what we've said, is just, they're just doing everything opposite of that. I don't know if I could have saw this coming.
I don't think anybody saw this coming.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody thought we were going to be coming out of game 2 with Milwaukee hanging a 40-point loss in game 2. I mean, it was an abject disaster. I've seen some bad playoff games. That might be the worst I've ever seen. This is
one of the worst I've ever seen. I've never seen a team just completely, and it was right in the first quarter, too. You would have thought I thought what was going to happen was they were going to make some adjustments. They're going to say, we know for sure that James Harden is not playing this game. We know that we're not going to shoot as bad as we did. And I thought those adjustments were going to be made, and they were going to say, you know what, this is what we need to do. And they didn't do any of that. They didn't do anything. They didn't go to the hole in the first quarter. They started jacking up threes again, and it just was ugly.
I mean, and now you've hit, 14 threes across 2 games, and you've shot 56 of them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's brutally bad.
Mm-hmm.
I just look at I look at Brooklyn in a different light now than I did. I thought that their inability to play defense was going to kill them.
Mm-hmm.
Blake Griffin, I can't believe I'm about to say
this out
loud. Blake Griffin gives them just enough of a defensive presence that it doesn't matter.
Yeah. They just needed 1 or 2. This is a team that scores unbelievably, and we all know that. They needed 1 or 2 guys to step up defensively in each series, and Blake Griffin's being one of them. And I mean, Kevin Durant's playing decent defense as well, he's never been, I would say, a plus defender, but when given opportunities, Durant has taken on the role of I'm going to stop somebody. He's playing pretty well in defense. The role players, the Bruce Browns and Nick Claxtons, they're stepping up on defense as well. And it's just really, I don't think that there's any chance that the Milwaukee team can come back aside from having a Game 3 turnaround, where if they end up beating the Nets by 20 or 30 in Game 3, showing some signs of life, that's what I'm going to need to see. If it's a close game in Game 3 and they maybe come out with a win, I still don't think they can win.
You know who had to watch last night with just ready to beat their head against the wall? Stan Van Ron, Jeremy. I mean, he has to be watching this going, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I traded for Blake Griffin. He was a broken toy. He goes to Brooklyn, and all of a sudden he looks like a real bully again.
Yeah, he's got to be so upset. But, is
Stan Van Gundy the NFL or the NBA equivalent of Adam Gase? Players get away from him, and all of a sudden they just become markedly better.
Yeah. Mike James is a player
He didn't mean to.
He's played really well in these first two games, and I would never have thought that I would be mentioning his name in a playoff series. Not a guy
that I thought we were going to be talking about.
Yeah,
going
for
into
sure.
This. But I mean, if you're being really legitimately honest about the Nets, the one thing that scares me, they're so thin. Mm-hmm. I mean, even in a blowout last night, they played 8 guys more than 9 minutes.
Right.
So, I mean, and once you get into that Tyler Johnson, Chris Chiesa, just grossness.
Uh-huh.
And I think that could be a problem against whether it's Philadelphia the next round, whether it's whoever comes out of the West. But I mean, even then, I'm nitpicking. My fear is that they're playing these guys so many minutes that somebody's going to break.
I mean,
because Blake Griffin should not be playing. I shouldn't say that. It scares me that he's playing this much.
But in these first 2 games, he showed you that they need him to play that much, and he stepped up to the thing for it. I mean, these guys, look at it. Reggie Perry was 2 for 3 from 3-point range. Landry Shamet was 3 for 5, and Mike James was 2 for 4. I mean, off the bench, when you got guys like that hitting 3-pointers off your bench, and I know a lot of that was in garbage time because the game was pretty much over, but still, if your bench is hitting threes like that, I mean, as a team, they shot 50% from 3-point range. They were 21 of 42 from 3-point range yesterday. That is hard to beat.
All right, so that's the first thing that I was wrong about.
Yeah.
We're still 12 games away.
Yeah, still 12 games away.
We're still 12 games away. If I say it like that, does it sound better? Here's the thing. I think that was game 1, a game 1 of a series in Phoenix, and I'm not pushing the panic button too early on the Denver Nuggets on this series like I am in Milwaukee. So what you're saying is that I need to be 12 games away from my 2021 NBA champion Denver Nuggets. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Pretty much so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. You know, my Nuggets lose last night 122-105 against the Phoenix Suns. If you take out the 16-0 run, this game was stupidly close. Uh-huh. There was one stretch where Monty Morris just could. I think if Monty Morris had been lined up one-on-one with my coffee cup might have had 12 in that run.
So bad.
He was dreadfully god-awful. I yelled his name in an aggressive way at least 6 times in that.
Yeah. I mean, as soon as he came into the game, things just turned around, and Campazzo wasn't very good last night as well.
Campazzo wasn't bad. Campazzo wasn't bad. He did exactly what I needed him to do. Now, Chris Paul was Chris Paul, but Chris Paul wasn't otherworldly. Devin Booker wasn't otherworldly. You know what the difference, in my opinion, was last night? Mikal Bridges.
Yeah, they had 4 guys score 20 or more.
Yeah.
I mean, that's...
And the thing that scares me about that is that's the one thing I didn't take into account. Mm-hmm. I didn't feel like DeAndre Ayton was fine.
Yeah.
He didn't do he did a fine job against Joker.
He did.
Joker wasn't super efficient for a big, but he still did jokery things. He had 22 points, 9 boards. The problem is he didn't facilitate. Right. Ayton kept him from facilitating. And I'm to the point that I think in this series, Aaron Gordon's going to have to be the facilitator.
Yeah, and Aaron Gordon needs to play more. I mean, not that he's at 29 minutes. It's not like he played less minutes, but he needs to be on the floor.
It's a little biased because Aaron Gordon, the way his minutes roll, by the time he was supposed to go back in, it was very clear this was not going to happen.
And when you see Joker with only 3 assists, that's not how Denver wins games. When he's only got 3 assists, that means he's not, like you just said, he's not facilitating the way he does. This team wins when Joker is the main piece of this offense and he's facilitating people on the ball and working off people driving, kicking, pick and rolls, these kind of things. It just didn't seem to happen yesterday. And it was just an ugly game. But I'm not too concerned. I felt like this was one of those game 1 series in somebody else's home and they were just hyped up. I mean, Phoenix was rocking last night. So it was just, that's what I'm taking away. I'm not pushing the panic button too early, but man, Phoenix is so good. And again, I undersold them very much so in the first round. Historically, we all know about that. The far superior team was definitely Phoenix. And,
I still have that.
We still have that at least.
Here's the one thing, and this is coming from the delusional Denver Nuggets fan. Mm-hmm. This is the 5th playoff series we played in 2 years.
Yeah.
How many times have we won game 1?
Not often.
Once.
Yeah.
One time have we won game 1.
Yeah, I mean.
Lost game 1 to the Blazers, lost game 1 here.
Yeah.
This one was at least in Phoenix.
Yeah.
I'm really not panicked about the Nuggets.
Yeah.
I mean, this series could easily go 7 games. I think a game 7 in Phoenix would be tough for Denver to win.
Yes.
They need to get game 2 to keep from having to go back to Phoenix. To keep from having to go back to Phoenix for game 7.
Yeah, I said I originally picked Denver in 7, and what I felt was they were maybe going to split one. I'm not even going to push the panic button too much on them if they lose another game in Phoenix. I'm not looking at this series the same way that I'm looking at the Brooklyn and Milwaukee series.
No, that shit's over.
Yeah, so I'm not too concerned about them.
They could let Milwaukee play a 6th guy, and I don't think it would matter.
Wow, they were.
They were god awful.
Mm-hmm. And I think, the Nuggets have been a team who, and I think they do it better than anybody else. They make adjustments when they get beat like this. They make clear adjustments. Unlike Milwaukee, who did nothing to change what they needed to do. And this is a team that came down from 3-1 series twice last year. So it's not like Denver isn't a team that can come back. So I'm not too concerned about them at all.
Now, see, when people say disingenuous things, I have to comment on. Adam Black said that I said today's players aren't as skilled. That's not what I said. I said they're not markedly more skilled than back in the day. There's markedly less defense played today.
There is.
I got news for you. Kevin Durant's little rail thin ass would not have been the same player in 1994. I promise you.
No, I think they would have pushed him off the ball a little bit more.
Yeah, because you know who would have? He would have been seeing a lot more of Charles Oakley and guys like that.
Dennis Rodman would have just ate his lunch up.
Yeah, I mean Giannis is a physical freak, but at the same time, he's not as physical. He's not as physical as I think he even should be. In all honesty,
and it just drives me crazy. That's
defensively, not offensively.
Giannis is a guy who, if he's not getting 15 free throws a game, he's doing it wrong.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, he is a guy that literally can go to the hole and he will get fouled, and he has to do it all the time. He needs to take the mindset of, I'm going to go to the hole every single time, and I'm going to either grab a foul, and even if you miss a couple of them, even if you go and you miss a couple of them, just keep pounding in because you're going to get to the free throw line, and Giannis is a good free throw shooter. It's not like he's Ben Simmons at the free throw line. You know, he can get up there and he shoots, I think he shoots like 80% up from the free throw line, if not better.
Giannis?
Yeah.
I should know that.
Yeah, I can probably look that up. But
I can.
You're probably right there.
I'm right there. If my computer will go.
Yeah, of course.
For whatever reason, nothing, no device in this studio is working.
This whole morning, everything, and I don't know, I read something about internet being out around the whole damn world. There was a couple of servers that were knocked down dead. So I don't know for sure.
Yeah, this morning's been a fun shit show. Giannis Antetokounmpo is about a 70% free throw.
A 70, okay.
I mean, he's not great, but it's 2 for 7 is bad even for him.
Yeah, so I mean, I just feel like he should be getting to the free throw line, and especially in this series, because this is the series that's how we thought they were going to win, was they were to spread him out and Giannis would just go to the hole.
I will say, we thought this was the series that was going to be good and competitive going into the week.
Yeah.
It's not.
And like I said, if I don't see I think Milwaukee has to come in Game 3. They have to blow them out. They have to, if they want to have any signs of life, and I don't think it's going to happen. So I'm trying to look at.
I'm curious to see if they can even win.
Yeah, and that's what my thing is. I'm just trying to, I guess, maybe wanting to have a series, I guess, is in my mind. So I'm trying to point out things. But like you said, if you have to go too many words to explain how you're going to win, you're probably not going to win. Mm-hmm. So that's exactly what we're going with.
But, I mean, looking at the comparison here, I feel like Brooklyn, at worst, it's 5 games.
Yeah.
You come back to Brooklyn for Game 5, they put them away. Maybe they still won at home. What does Tank call that? The gentleman's sweep?
The gentleman's sweep, yeah.
I mean, I could see that.
Yeah.
I don't really know how it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know how the team I watched last night is going to win a game. However, I look at Denver, and maybe I'm a little biased.
Yeah.
Because I am driving the fan wagon for the Denver Nuggets. I just look at them and go, you take out one little stretch, and that was a really competitive game in Phoenix. If you told me they came out and won Game 2, I wouldn't be surprised.
And I'm not gonna lie. I'm looking at this Brooklyn team right now, and I don't think any team in the East can beat them if they play like this. I honestly don't. Philly's gonna have a tough time, especially if Doc is putting Danny Greene on.
I don't think he would. See, I don't think he would.
And that's my problem. Again, if they're James Harden less, and from all accounts, from what I'm hearing is. I mean, this is the same hamstring that held them back for, 18 games? The last 18 games of the season?
Yeah, but I'm not.
I know it's a little bit different in the playoff. I don't know.
I have a funny feeling that Philadelphia comes out and proves a point against Atlanta.
I need to see that, too. So,
and I think you're gonna.
Yeah.
I think Philadelphia and we'll just, slide right into the games tonight.
Yeah.
I look at that Philadelphia-Atlanta game and go, my streak has taken a hell of a knock here in the last couple of days.
Yes.
I feel like Philadelphia is going to get me back on the right track.
I think so too. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind they figured something out towards the end of that game, especially with the pressure and especially with Ben Simmons guarding Trae Young. It needs to happen. This whole Danny Greene on Trae Young is not the right decision.
Well, the Danny Greene thing didn't last that long. Matisse Thybulle was actually on Trae Young more than anybody else.
Yeah.
And I think that's fine. I mean, does he hurt your offense a little bit? Yes.
Well, he actually hit a couple threes, Thybulle did, which is not his forte, so to speak. But
the biggest thing for Philadelphia is that their bench has to come in and not be god awful, which it was in Game 1.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, Philadelphia starters still outscored Atlanta across the board.
Yeah.
And you just have to find a way to make the rotations work while the bench guys are in. Mm-hmm. I look at that. You're coming into Game 2 tonight. It's in Philadelphia. Philadelphia's I've already looked at the line and I've forgotten. They're a 5.5-point favorite.
Uh-huh.
I don't see any way they don't cover that.
Yeah.
I really don't. I don't see any way. I mean, this Atlanta story's been cute. It's fun. Trae Young's he's a great young player in the NBA. You're still a one-trick pony with pick and roll with John Collins. You got Capella. It's not. I mean, he's a putback guy.
Uh-huh.
And you've got, the three-point shooters. You're going to live by the three and die by it.
Yeah.
And I don't see a way that Philadelphia doesn't win tonight.
They almost have to be honest with you.
Well, there's the sense of urgency is certainly more in Philadelphia than it is in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And I think Doc Rivers, I just believe in Doc Rivers. Mm-hmm. I'm learning to believe more in Nate McMillan because this team looks completely different than it did with Lloyd Pierce.
For sure.
And, I mean, they have things to cling on to and be happy about. Mm-hmm. But I don't see them winning this series.
Yeah.
The other game tonight, the LA Clippers and the Utah Jazz, and Utah's only a 4-point favorite, and that's stupid. I think Utah may blow them out tonight.
I think this is, typical teams that come off of a 7-game series going into a Game 1 of a series who's someone who's been rested typically don't go very well for the team that was in a 7-game series. Historically, their legs are a little bit, tired, and they don't go as hard as they did. And they needed every single bit of Kawhi Leonard to beat Dallas. And I could see him having a down game. And if Kawhi has a down game, the Clippers can't win. I mean, it's coming to the point to where Kawhi actually needs to score about 35 to 40 a game for them to have a chance to win, I think. And this Utah team is a different kind of beast. They're not superstar laden, but what they do have is a very, very good player in Donovan Mitchell, on that prerequisite of becoming a superstar. And then they have Rudy Gobert, they have Mike Conley, and those guys they're extremely good at their position. They know what they need to do. Then they got guys like Joe Ingles, who just hits threes and facilitates the ball. He was Sixth Man of the Year this year. Jordan Clarkson can come out. Jordan Clarkson can score pretty well.
Nick Claxton and Jordan Clarkson.
Yeah, it sure did. But I saw this team is a different kind of animal because they all play together. Quinn Snyder's got these guys playing together as a team, and they are a different kind of beast. Not to mention, it is not easy to win in Utah.
No. And it's going to be ridiculous in Utah today.
It's going to be really ridiculous there, and it's going to be it's hard to win there. And I could see this being one of those. The game's over in the third quarter, and then they sit Kawhi and Paul George for the whole fourth quarter.
And I could easily see that because you got to understand the Jazz have been sitting for a week.
Yeah.
The Clippers played on Sunday.
Yeah.
This could be fresh legs, just inability to close out. And against Utah, if you don't close out, you're going to get shot out of the building.
Yeah.
And that's what I think happens tonight. I'm with Armchair Commentary. I am aggressively taking the over tonight. The over's 220.5.
The only thing that scares me is what I just said, is that it's a blowout and they take the guys out in the fourth quarter, and then
I'm not even sure that scares me.
Really?
I'm really not.
Wow.
I mean, if I had to pick a score here, I'm going to say Utah 125-104. That would probably be about where I think that score is going to fall in.
Yeah.
I could easily see Utah sitting on a hundy when the third quarter horn.
Yeah. I mean, I could see it too.
And that's how I think this game's going to go. I think they just outleg them. And then, you see that mundane fourth quarter where everybody's, to see a ton of points. But I'm going to aggressively take the over.
Yeah.
That is also where we find our Monkey Knife Fight play of the day for tonight. Go to monkeyknifefight.com. Use our promo code TANK. They'll match your initial deposit up to $50 and give you a free $5 ticket, which you can use in my game tonight, the more or less 3.6x multiplier between the Utah Jazz and the LA Clippers. I'm going to go under 29.5 for Donovan Mitchell, over 27.5 for Kawhi Leonard. That will turn your $5 buy-in into an $18 prize. It's 18 free dollars just for going to monkeyknifefight.com using our promo code TANK, T-A-N-K.
If you haven't gone in there and done it already, I know you guys have probably listened to have at least gone and got a free play in there. If you haven't, just go ahead and do it. It doesn't make any sense not to. It's free money.
Well, it also gives you a reason to watch the game tonight.
Yeah, 100%.
Because I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think there's going to be much of a reason to watch the fourth quarter, except to see if Donovan Mitchell winds up back in the game to go over that 29.5.
Yeah, there you go.
Because I could very easily see a path where he's sitting on 25 going into his fourth quarter break, and then you go, please don't come back in, please don't come back in, please don't come back in.
And then you hope that they don't take out Kawhi either, so that he's in there in the fourth quarter still trying to get buckets.
I think Kawhi has 30 at halftime.
Yeah.
Because I don't know who's going to guard him.
Yeah.
The only problem is I think Kawhi has 30 at halftime and the Clippers have 48.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that could very easily be a problem.
Yeah.
And while we're doing promos, let's just go ahead and we'll do this one too.
Hey!
Go to manscaped.com, use our promo code SPORTSOCRACY to get 20% off your order, plus free shipping in the continental United States. With Father's Day coming up, let's face it, your first home, no matter who you are, was your father's balls. And it's time for you to get that long overdue housewarming present for your first home. Go to manscaped.com, use our promo code SPORTSOCRACY, get something for dad, get something for yourself, and get 20% off all of it. Manscaped.com, promo code SPORTSOCRACY at checkout.
Well, not only that, but we've heard from Michael Whiteside yesterday, who went on there and got it using the promo code SPORTSOCRACY. He was saying that there was a 45% off already in there. You add 20% to that. That's 65% off anything you buy. The one thing I was looking at, that's not crazy expensive that every one of us need, especially me getting to my older age, is the Weed Whacker, which is going to be a nose trimmer, and not to mention some ear trimmers, because there might be, long hair or two kind of pulling out every once in a while in my advanced age. So that's something that you can go and get, which doesn't cost you a whole lot of money. It gets you on the promo code.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And it's just freaking awesome.
So just go out there and grab one of those. Why not? Get one for dad,
Dad, and I'll be honest with you, as a dad that's getting, on up there in age, we all need that.
Yes.
It's a perfect gift. I think with our promo code, it's $23. It'll be something that Dad will probably look at and go, oh, and then you'll go, no, you need that.
Yeah, you need that, Pop.
Yeah. Dad, let me explain manscaping to you.
Just use that once, and then let me know. And you're like, oh, God, son, that was the best present I've got in 15 years. Thanks for not getting me a tie.
Bingo. Hell of a lot better than the sweater, the Argyle socks at the time. Your balls will thank you.
Yes,
Manscaped.com, promo code Sportsocracy at checkout. 20% off your entire order and free shipping in the continental United States. Now, I'm Jeremy Greene. This is Brian Haynes, and this is the Sportsocracy, as always, brought to you by Wicked Weed Brewing. WickedWeedBrewing.com. Drink different. One of the things we wanted to do today was unveil our familiar faces in new places NFL team. There's been a lot of movement in the NFL, and there's a lot of guys that I feel really good about going into the 2021 season. Yeah. This has fantasy ramifications, and today we're going to unveil the offense.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you, the hardest position for me to determine was backup quarterback.
Yes.
Matthew Stafford is no doubt our quarterback for the all familiar faces in new places.
I agree with that 100%. But there was Sam Darnold, Carson Wentz is easy. I mean, you could even throw in a Ryan Fitzpatrick in there. I don't think he's going to be as fantasy relevant or whatever. But that was the one position, one of the two positions we had. We're like, which one do we pick when we have a first and a second team? Obviously, Matthew Stafford is. I actually think, and Jeremy thinks I'm a little crazy, but I actually think that Matthew Stafford is an MVP candidate this year.
Well, I mean, a lot of people do. I just think that's a little over the top. I mean, I agree. Matthew Stafford's a better quarterback than Jared Goff. At the end of the day, he's not. I mean, it's not like Jared Goff was.
Right. I know. I could see this being where Matthew Stafford has a coming out party from being in a new system, and he throws for 40 touchdowns somehow. 40 touchdowns and 4,000 yards. But again, I know that this team is also, towards the end of the season last year, you saw this team become more of a little bit more of a running team with Cam Akers, and I could see that being this year. I don't know. I'm looking at this, and I've been a Matt Stafford backer for a very long time. I said a lot. Being down in Charlotte, I would tell people all the time when they were such big, huge Cam Newton fans, I would say if Matt Stafford was the quarterback of the Panthers, we probably would have been to 2-3 Super Bowls, especially with that defense that they had for a while. And people would talk crap to me. So I've been on this Matt Stafford bandwagon for quite some time, and I'm a believer in him, and I think he's going to ball out this year.
I think he's going to be very good. I don't want people to think that I'm trying to undersell Matthew Stafford. Here's where I think this is going to be. I could see people being let down. I feel like people think he's going to come in and be 2011 5,000-yard Matt Stafford. I don't see any way that's going to happen. And there's a two-word reason for that. Cam Akers. This is a dude that if you listen to me last year, I tried to tell you. Every dynasty league, this is the running back that's going too late. This is the dude. I watched him at Florida State. We didn't use him the right way. That's a guy that, I mean, he's going in the second round of fantasy drafts this year.
I've felt like Cam Akers should be easily a top 5 running back this year in fantasy.
I don't know if I'm that high. I mean, you might actually be higher on him than I am.
I am. I just saw what they were doing with the last 3 games of the season, and he was just getting everything he could get. I mean, and I feel like with Stafford, with Goff, I felt like there was teams that were concerned about play action because that's something he did well, but they weren't too concerned with other aspects of his game, and I think they're going to have to be concerned with it now with Stafford at quarterback.
The thing that you always have to understand with Matthew Stafford, he has had some injury issues.
And that's the only thing I'm fearful of. And now the funny
thing is, he's only missed 8 games since 2011. So it's not like he's hurt year in and year out. It's just a lot of nagging things. A thumb here, a knee there, a shoulder every once in a while. I don't think Sean McVay, with him being 33 years old, is going to ask him to throw 630 times in a season.
And Matt Stafford is one of our game's best gamers. I mean, this guy literally, his shoulder came out, he went back in the game and came in and threw a touchdown pass. Or his shoulder was about to come out and it threw out in the touchdown pass. He was like, I'm done, I'm out. I mean, you guys have seen the clip 100 times, I'm sure. But he's an all-time gamer, and he plays hurt all the time. But that doesn't necessarily translate the best sometimes. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking through rose-colored glasses. I'm just seeing this team I'm seeing Matt Stafford as just being unbelievable and just having a rebirth because he's in a new situation and just playing like crazy.
Here's where I think the myth kind of comes in. Where were the Rams last year in passing attempts?
I felt like they
You feel like they just throw all the time.
I felt like the first half of the season they really threw the ball a lot. So maybe I would say, and they switched on. I would say what, about 10th or 11th? 12th, yeah.
They were 12th. I just don't feel like this is going to be, especially now with Cam Akers, especially now with the defense. I think is going to be better. I mean, anytime you've got Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald,
when you have the two of the best players in the NFL.
In my opinion, it's two of the three best defensive players in the NFL.
Yeah, exactly.
I just don't think he's going to be asked to throw that much.
Yeah.
I think the MVP talk is that's where, I kind of draw the line.
Yeah.
Like, I don't see any way he's beating Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers,
right.
The usual suspects of
Yeah.
MVP. Now, with that being said, I do think he's going to be very good.
Yeah.
The guy that I think everybody's sleeping on, Sam Darnold.
Yeah, and this is crazy because even in our home market here, the Charlotte market, here being in Asheville, I mean, it is more divided than I actually thought it was going to be. There is a lot of people out there that don't, they just look at Sam Darnold's 3 years in New York and look at it as that was him as the quarterback. And a lot of us, I think, who have a IQ higher than salad dressing, as Jeremy likes to say, know that Sam Darnold was not put into the best position where he was at in New York. He was not given weapons. He had Adam freaking Gase as his coach, which is just the worst decision of all time. And I just think that Joe Brady looks at Sam Darnold and says, I can do something with this guy.
From a sheer talent point of view, who's more talented, Ryan Tannehill or Sam Darnold?
Sam Darnold.
There you go. Ryan Tannehill got away from Adam Gase.
Yeah.
Got to Arthur Smith, big boy in the room.
Yep.
And he became I'm not going to say he's a top flight quarterback. He's a very good quarterback.
Yeah.
Very highly rated quarterback.
Yeah.
Very efficient quarterback. And I'm going to be honest with you. I could easily see Sam Darnold doing the same thing.
And
There's so many damn weapons on this offense.
And he's younger than younger than Tannehill when he moved over to Tennessee. He's more mobile than Tannehill when he moved over to Tennessee. Sam Darnold has a lot. He also has familiarity with Robbie Anderson, which is on the team, which is I think people undersell a lot. Not that they were, there was just a few games between them, but just having familiarity with a wide receiver already helps out a little bit.
Oh, there were some good games there, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It was just infuriating.
Yeah.
Because every time Robbie Anderson had a plus matchup, he would disappear.
Yeah.
And that part was a little, that, as a Jets fan, that'll piss you off.
And I think when you get a healthy CMC back, you actually have, pieces around. There's just going to be, it's just going to be a different story. I think this defense has gotten better in Carolina as well, which I think is going to help Sam as well. I don't think he's going to be, he was asked to do a lot in New York, and it wasn't even put in great positions. I just think he's going to have a fantastic year. But I could also see it maybe being a year of learning the system too. But I don't know.
The good thing is this is a very quarterback conducive system.
Yeah.
And the thing that nobody seems to talk about, Sam Darnold's smart as hell.
He is.
He is a sharp cat.
And he's a lot more mobile than most people think.
100%. That's the thing that makes me laugh is people that say he's not mobile. Do you know who had the longest touchdown run of a quarterback in the NFL last year?
Sam Darnold.
Yeah. It was 48 yards against the Broncos.
That's because Danny Dimes tripped on the 10-yard line.
Yeah. Your quarterback tripped on his own shoelaces. That did happen.
Oh, shit.
I actually think Lamar Jackson had one that was longer than Darnold.
Yeah.
He at one point had the longest touchdown run of a quarterback last year. May have wound up that way, but
there's been some reports out of Carolina when I wanted to mention this too, because tight end position has been a problem. Apparently, Ian Thomas is really doing very well so far in camp, and they're talking about how this is going to be a rebirth year for him. Not rebirth, because I felt like his rookie year he was really, really good, and when he was taking over for when Greg Olsen was hurt, and then we just saw a complete drop off. And there's reports coming out of Charlotte that he's ready to take the step here. Not to mention they got Tommy Tremble in the draft.
God, I love Tommy Tremble.
Which I think that gives them a little bit more versatility, because I kind of see him as that like fullback, tight end kind of combo player.
H-back.
Yep. So it's going to be really well, and I just see them happening. And then so I just think Sam Darnold's going to have a good year. And another quarterback that we listed that I think is going to have a crazy good year, and people are just down on him because of what happened in Philadelphia, is Carson Wentz. He is reunited with Frank Reich. The last time that these guys were together, prior to Carson Wentz getting hurt, he was the no doubt MVP of the season. And I just can see him being just the whole. I don't like some of the things that were happened in Philadelphia, but Philadelphia's a shit show as it is, and I could see him just getting out of there and breathing the fresh air. Michael Pittman, all these guys in Indianapolis are already talking about how much they like Carson Wentz. He wasn't supposed to be. He stayed there with the rookie mini camp, and he was working out with all the guys. I just see him I think this is going to be a Carson Wentz rebirth, and the negativity that surrounded him from his last little bit in Philadelphia, I think is going to be gone, and I think you're going to see that MVP candidate Carson Wentz again.
By the way, the stat was Sam Darnold had a 46-yard touchdown run. Lamar Jackson had a 50-yarder.
Yeah.
Darnold's was the 4th longest touchdown run by a quarterback in NFL history. Let's throw that out there.
Wow.
I knew there was a stat like that. I just couldn't remember exactly how it went. I like Carson Wentz coming into this year. Mm-hmm. The reason I have him behind Sam Darnold is twofold. One, what Kevin Vick just said, that I think Sam Darnold is going to be on a little bit of a fuck you tour 2021.
Oh, yeah.
I do. I know the kid reasonably well from connections in the New York market because I am a diehard Jets fan. Nobody had anything negative to say about him. Here's one thing that I've learned being a member of the media for the limited period of time that I have. Mm-hmm. When you have sources, they really like telling you shit about people.
Yeah.
I never heard anything about Sam. Nothing. It was all just good soldier, put into a shitty situation, never complained about it, blah, 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 blah. I have Carson Wentz behind Sam Darnold because I don't think he's going to be asked to do as much. Mm. If you told me Indianapolis goes 12-5, makes playoffs, what is the one thing that has to be true for that to happen? To me, it's not Carson Wentz throws for 4,500 yards.
I think it's Jonathan Taylor has about 1,300 or 1,400 yards. Right? I mean,
I think it's more than that, by the way.
And honestly, still they brought back Marlon Mack, and if he can stay healthy, he's a hell of a backup. Naheem Hines is still there for a 3rd down back. This is a team that's going to be pretty good. And Indianapolis probably has the best offensive line in the NFL.
It's very good.
Yeah.
I have to say, Lil Chewy in the comments said Justin Herbert's an MVP dark horse. I may or may not have a little white piece of paper that I got from a nefarious gambling place that has Justin Herbert's name and plus a big fucking number. So I'm right there with you. I like that one a lot.
It's good to see you again, Chewy. I haven't seen you in the comments in a hot minute, man. My brother's back in town here.
It was, I think he was here yesterday.
Oh, was he? I missed out on it.
I'm usually the one that's trolling
We
the
were
comments.
too busy yelling at each other yesterday. So.
Oh, yeah, yesterday I was too busy telling Brian to go fuck himself. By the way, thank you everyone that reached out to see if we killed each other.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you know what we did? We got up from the table and went and had a cup of coffee out in the parking lot.
Yeah, we started laughing as soon as we got outside.
Yeah,
we were like, that was good.
Yeah. Sometimes we get table mad at each other.
Yeah. We're not really mad at each other.
That was yesterday in a nutshell.
Yeah, exactly.
But now back to what I was saying about Carson Wentz. I just look at the receivers with T.Y. Hilton, Michael Pittman. There's just a lot of question, in my opinion. Because I'm not dead sold that T.Y. Hilton's not taking 7 steps back, and that's just who he is.
I need Paris Campbell to be healthy. I need him to be healthy because I've been hearing about this guy for 2 straight years, and he keeps getting hurt. And if this guy's healthy and everything that you hear about this guy, you hear that this guy could be a number 1 or a number 2 receiver in this league. And I'm waiting to see it. I'm ready to see it. But Zach Pascal's not terrible as a wide receiver. He's played well in spots as well.
Adam Black said he got the vaccine yesterday because of you. Or this morning. Because of that.
That's my man right there.
That's funny. There's so much instability. And I just don't think Carson Wentz is going to be asked to do that much.
Yeah, this is going to be a running team, 100%. And I think Frank Reich knows that. And I think that's what's going to make Carson Wentz a successful quarterback, as I think they're going to be able, because Carson Wentz is one heck of a play-action pass quarterback. He's amazing. And he is still kind of mobile. I mean, people forget how mobile Carson Wentz can be. It was just that he was running for his damn life last year.
Yeah, fun Carson Wentz question.
Yeah.
What's the most yards he's ever thrown for in a year?
God, 3,000?
It's 4,000.
Yeah.
In the 116-game season. Even in the MVP season, he had 3,300 yards in 13 games.
Yeah.
That only plays out to be, what, 4,200 yards?
Yeah, so it's not.
If he'd played, as a matter of fact, it's not even that much.
Yeah.
It's right at 4,000.
Yeah.
A little over 4,000. So I feel like Carson Wentz is the one being drafted in fantasy football drafts right now, and Sam Darnold's the one that should be.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. I could be wrong. I think Carolina's going to be in some shootouts because it's still a young defense.
Oh, yeah.
So just, Uncle Jeremy's little piece of fantasy football advice.
Yeah.
I would not draft Carson Wentz. I like him as a real-life quarterback. I would, however, draft Sam Darnold. One of the weakest positions running back. Running back is grisly, gross, god-awful. I do like Mike Davis. I don't really know what to do with him for fantasy football this year. And I like Phillip Lindsay, but now they have 19 running backs.
Yeah, seriously. He should be Phillip Lindsay number 1 in Houston, but they got,
Rex Burkhead, Mark Ingram.
Yeah.
Earl Campbell.
Earl Campbell came out of him. I think Mike Davis is going to be asked to do a little bit more than what he is accustomed to in Atlanta this year. And this is something I don't know, maybe this is a sidebar to talk about, but God, I feel like Atlanta did everything wrong in this offseason. If they were going to get rid of Julio Jones, I felt like they should have either drafted a young quarterback or maybe traded back, because they're just giving mixed emotions to or mixed signals, I would say, to their fan base for what they're going to do, because it's obvious you're not going to try to win if you're trading your number 1 guy, period. But that's another story for another time. I just think Mike Davis, with this system now with Arthur Smith, just remember how much tread they put on Derrick Henry in Tennessee with that. I think they're going to ask him to do a little bit more than Mike Davis has ever handled. I love Mike Davis. I've always been a Mike Davis fan. I think he's done great in a lot of spots that he's always been in, and he's never really been given the opportunity to be the number 1. It's a weird situation, but I do think he's going to be very, very fantasy relevant this year.
I do too. He's currently going as the first pick in the 7th round.
Wow.
And he's going 1 spot behind James Conner, which is dumb.
He's the number 1 back in Atlanta.
He's the only back in Atlanta.
I mean, you can't, that doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't to me either.
In fantasy, you got to have a running back. And it doesn't matter if you got a starting running back still available in the 7th round, that people are doing it wrong.
First of all, welcome to Gray Ford in the comments. That's a new name that I've never seen before. Said that the Lions running game will procure a 1,000-yard rusher this season. I agree with you.
Yeah.
DeAndre Swift, somebody I'm very high on. We will be doing a ton of fantasy football videos starting later this week. We will also be filling our Dynasty Fantasy Football League.
Yes.
The way to get involved in that through this month. And then if we don't fill through this month, we'll come up with some way.
Yeah.
One way or the other, we have to figure out some way to pay for these teams, because we're using dynastyleagueowner.com, I think is what it's called. There's salaries, there's all kinds of things. Every team will have a head coach, a GM, and an owner. We will get all of you on camera, whether it's via Zoom if you don't live here. We'll actually bring you into the studio if you are here. Every team has to have somebody that lives in the Asheville market so we can bring you in here and throw merch of your team on you.
Especially have that live draft is going to be so fun.
Oh, the live draft.
Man, if you thought our live draft for the NFL draft was a lot of fun, which if you guys don't see it, you can still go back and watch it. There it is. I mean, just think about all of us having that much fun in this studio.
So there will be a live draft here that is televised on this channel.
Yeah.
It will be a dynasty. It's a dynasty format. You have contracts. You have all of the things. This is going to be a legitimate dynasty football league. The way to get in through the month of June is to join our Patreon. Any level, any tier. The ones that are already in are already in. So we filled 7 of the 33 slots because one of the teams will be owned by myself, Brian, and Tank, and we'll be playing against you. And I talk a lot of shit. Like a lot.
Yeah, it's going to be in a very aggressive lot of bullshit talk to each other. I can't wait. That live draft will have more. I can't wait till someone picks someone like where they reach and everybody just literally looks at them and just.
I'm gonna Ted DiBiase $1 million man.
Oh, thank you for picking that guy.
Yeah, 100%. I actually might come to the draft dressed in $1 million tux.
Oh my God, we got to find you $1 million belt.
That's a thing. That's a thing.
100% a thing.
Oh, my wife's pissed at you because I don't know how much that's going to cost, but I'm going to find it out.
Yeah.
Chuck said 2 things I've never done that'll piss Jeremy off: watch an episode of Friends or play fantasy football.
Oh my. What? Come on, Chuck.
First of all, both of them make me very, very happy.
Yeah.
Michael Whiteside said, do I have to be vaccinated to be around Brian?
No.
I love you so much.
No.
Oh, sorry. If you weren't here yesterday, you can find that one in the playlist. We called each other bad names, and people thought we were going to jump over the fucking table at each other.
Tank was scared.
Tank was legitimately, honest to Jesus, scared. But if you want into our Dynasty Football League, just join our Patreon. I'll send you an email, and I'll be sending an email later this week to the ones that are already in on the Patreon. Apologies that I've been a little late on that. June is our biggest sales month, so
yeah.
it gets a little weird around here about the time the camera turns off, because we have a lot of shit going on between the ESPN Radio show, so I promise it's coming. Just, one thing at a time. I have to completely recode my computer after the show so we can be on Facebook and YouTube at the same time.
Yeah.
Which I've been meaning to do for no less than 2 months now.
Yeah.
So I thought of it in my sleep last night. But join our Patreon at patreon.com/sportsocracy to get in on the Dynasty Football League. We can't wait. The intention is to have the draft sometime next month. We would like to do it earlier than that. As soon as the league fills, we're in.
Yeah.
So, just throwing that out there. But moving back to our all familiar faces in new places.
Yeah, I mean, the running backs we don't need to talk about much because it's just
Philip Lindsay I love to death, but you screwed yourself by going to Houston.
Yeah, he could have gone I would have loved to see Philip Lindsay end up in Miami. That would have
I'd love to see Philip Lindsay with the Jets, and I'm still pissed he didn't. Wide receiver is the deepest position. I think there are legitimately probably 10 receivers that are in new places that are going to be realistically fantasy relevant. Julio Jones and Kenny Golladay are both borderline wide receiver ones to me.
Yeah.
Galladay's probably higher than Julio. I can't believe I just said that out loud. That felt weird.
What people don't forget about Daniel Jones is because he turns the ball over much, but he is actually probably in the last 2 years, he was the most accurate deep ball passer that we had in the league. He didn't get to throw him very often because he didn't have much time. But it's one of those that he can do that, and Kenny Golladay can get deep. And I think they are in a position now where they do have enough wide receivers and if Saquon can stay healthy, it's going to be tough for teams to defend them. So I can see Kenny Golladay having a really good year. The Corey Davis at the Jets is something that I'm really hoping plays out really well for them. Because got to remember, Corey Davis, his first probably 3 years was not considered. He was on that bust line because of what he was doing. Again, Tennessee had horrible quarterback situation.
He was on that bust line because he was top five, because he was taking the top five.
Yeah, and they couldn't figure out what they were doing at quarterback. I mean, Marcus Mariota and all that, Jake Locker and all that whole. Ugh. So I think that was more to do with that. I think he can do very well in the new offense, this zone running deep offense that they run. I think will be very conducive to helping Corey Davis out because he's a big target, and I can see him getting mucho touchdowns this year.
I think he's going to score reasonably well. Let me ask you a question. Where do you think Corey Davis is currently being drafted in fantasy football drafts?
I would be getting him in the top 4 rounds.
He's the last pick of the 9th round, right?
What?
Yeah, he's the last pick of the 9th, first pick of the 10th. That's the reason Corey Davis is on the first team, because that's stupid.
Oh, my.
Because the Jets are going to throw.
Yeah.
And they love Corey Davis. He's never going to come off the field because he's such a damn good blocker.
Yeah.
Gray Ford said in the comments, Galladay's always hurt.
You're
not wrong. He does have some injury issues.
That is one thing I'm very, very concerned about as a New York Giants fan, 100%.
If he can stay, obviously the caveat that if he can stay healthy.
Yeah.
On the second team, there's one that I feel like people are overvaluing. And one I feel like people are undervaluing.
Okay.
Nelson Aguilar is irrelevant to me. Just completely 100% irrelevant. I put him on the screen because so many people are talking him up. It's a short receiver with bad hands being thrown to by an inaccurate quarterback. I want you to just, anytime you think, hey, I should take Nelson Aguilar, just keep reciting what I just said on repeat.
I would want nothing to do with Nelson Aguilar as a fantasy owner. The quarterback situation does not lead me to want to pick him in any sort of fashion whatsoever. I just see, God almighty, if Cam is a starting quarterback, and I honestly don't believe Cam's going to be on the roster.
I don't either, actually. And the more time goes on and the more they just fuse about Mac Jones, the more I think you could very well be right.
Yeah, and and that's a situation still with Mac Jones at quarterback still doesn't make me think Nelson Aguilar. He had he drops a lot of passes. He did better about that last year, but this guy hasn't had he's not a number one wide receiver, 100%, and that's what they're asking him to do in New England.
But the one that I actually, Will Fuller scares the hell out of me. I think Will Fuller's made of glass, and he's suspended to start the year.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be a fine real-life player in Miami. I don't trust Tua Tagovailoa as far as I can throw him. Mm-hmm. And, with my back, I shouldn't be throwing no damn ball. But Curtis Samuel's the one I feel like's undervalued.
God, I think Curtis Samuel's going to be getting 15 touches a game, whether it be jet sweeps or running out of the backfield or lining up in the backfield or lining up at slot, lining up on the outside. This guy is so versatile, and he's very familiar with the, what's the guy's name? The offense coordinator, Turner, Scott Turner's offense. He was in Carolina with Curtis Samuel before. So I think this guy's just like, how can I use Curtis Samuel in 100 different ways? I could see this 100% being a crazy good draft pick for someone with Curtis Samuel, because I can see him scoring easily 10 to 15 points a game just on the basis of what kind of touches he's going to get in Washington.
I'm very excited about Curtis Samuel. Mm-hmm. I feel like Scott Turner saw what Joe Brady and what Matt Rule did with him and went, well, he fucked that up.
Yeah.
Because, it was not like they didn't use him. I just felt like they didn't use him the right way. Then they saw how he was used with Carolina last year and went, we got to get that guy back.
Yeah. Because you also can remember Curtis Samuel coming out of Ohio State actually was used in the backfield a lot. He had it was like 100 rushes plus 50 catches. It was something that when they drafted him, they're like, this guy's very versatile, and they didn't use him right the first couple of years. And you could see him last year doing it. And this is a team that is going to use a lot of these plays, I think. That team itself, the whole offense is very fast.
It's very fast. You're going to see, I think, a lot of good Ryan Fitzpatrick. As somebody that pulled for him for a lot of years with the Jets, you should understand that you're going to see some bad Ryan Fitzpatrick too. But I do really like Curtis Samuel. Looking at the tight ends, it's the two on the same team.
Yeah.
And I think people are overvaluing the shit out of them.
Mm-hmm. Hunter Henry is forever hurt. When he's on the field, yes, he can play well. Jonnu Smith is good, but he had 8 touchdowns last year, but he had like 400 yards receiving. It's not like he was a 800-yard receiving with 60 catches. It's not who they were. I think you're going to see a lot of that 12-man, is that what they call it? 12 spot, whatever?
12 personnel.
12 personnel. I was trying to think of the word of that. But I think we're going to see
two tight ends, two running backs.
Yeah, the dual tight ends. I think you're going to be seeing a lot of that in New England. So I think that it's going to be a situation which one's going to be relevant each week. So I think you're kind of drafting them in different positions. The one tight end that wasn't on this list, I think that's going to be better fantasy-wise, I think is going to be Gerald Everett out of Seattle. But I think the more talk is going to be towards them.
So many targets. That
I know.
My God. You got DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Dwayne Eskridge, who's a rookie that I really like. And just where's Gerald Everett fall in?
I know. I could see this being a situation in New England where you're drafting one of these guys and you're going to be so frustrated because the week you put him in the lineup, he's not going to get anything. The week you have him on the bench, he's going to score 2 touchdowns.
I do vow this year, fantasy football, to again be your tight end whisperer.
Yes.
That is a service that I am here to bring.
If anybody doesn't know, this guy last year basically would just pick some rando tight end out of, and it was 8 weeks in a row that whatever 7 weeks.
7 weeks in a row, I picked a tight end that half the time nobody had ever heard of.
Yeah,
they scored a touchdown every week.
They might not have scored very many points after that, but they at least got a touchdown.
3 of them had 1 catch for like 8 yards and a touchdown. It's fine.
That's all you need. All you need out of your tight end position.
All you need. The thing that bothers me about Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. Neither one of them have ever had more than 652 yards receiving in a season.
Period.
Hunter Henry's never played 16 games in a season.
Nope.
Been in the league 5 years. Never had a season where he didn't miss a game. New England's cold. They're going to ask him to do more because he's going to be higher in the pecking order in that offense than he was with the Chargers. What's the most yards Jonnu Smith's ever had in a season?
400, right?
448.
Yep.
It was last year.
Yep.
They spent
a lot of money.
$52.5 million in guaranteed money on those two.
Yeah. Money, 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 money.
I'm so fond of that. The Titans got Julio Jones for
man.
The Titans got Julio Jones for a 2 and a 4.
Yeah.
And the Patriots spent $11 billion on Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith, who I don't dislike. No. I just think it's really, really funny. Excuse me. I look at tight end this year in terms of the guys that moved. I don't know that I'm going to draft one of them.
I mean, I would pick a late flyer out of Gerald Everett. I mean, I like Jared Cook going to Los Angeles Chargers, but me and you are both on the Donald Parham bandwagon. I mean, he should be getting more time. I don't know why they had to bring in Jared Cook, but he's also 900 years old.
I don't know.
Yeah.
The Jared Cook thing just pisses me off.
You know, tight end position is a tough one in fantasy because you either have to draft one of those guys, one of the top guys, super high, higher than you would normally like to take a tight end, and then it kind of comes down the line of then you're not drafting one of those better wide receiver running backs. So after you get past the, you know, Travis Kelce's, George Kittles, and Darren Waller's of the world, it becomes kind of a murky situation from 4 to 10, and then it gets even murkier from 10 to 32, really, as it goes to the starting tight ends in this league. So it's just, that's why we need Jeremy.
I mean, here's the thing. Tight end and quarterback this year is like Ricky Bobby's sex life. You either want to be first or last.
Yeah.
And for me, preferably last.
Yeah. I hate using a high draft pick on a tight end, but if I'm not drafting one of those tight ends high, I'm not drafting one for a while.
And here's the thing. Kelsey's going in the first round. Darren Waller's going in the late second round.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm averse to that. I am averse to either one of those guys being the best player on my team.
Yeah.
Because running back gets a little gnarly pretty quickly.
Yes.
Closing out our all familiar faces in new places team is a bunch of linemen, and basically there's a story behind every one of these linemen.
Yes.
I look at Orlando Brown and Joe Thuney. I'm not a big fan of Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and I think anybody that's watched this show for more than 15 seconds knows that. I laughed when they took him the first round last year. There has never been a running back that small that was that slow at the combine that's ever rushed for more than 800 yards in a season. And I just don't know that he can ever be – I don't know that he can ever be what he was forecast to be last year. Where he's being drafted now makes a little more sense, especially with Thuney. I really like having him as the pull guard. I think that's going to open up some more holes. That's why he's fantasy relevant.
Yeah.
Corey Linsley and Matt Filer, they really make me like Austin Eckler even more than
Oh, my God. Yep.
And I'm not going to lie. I think I was pretty damn high on Austin Eckler in the first place.
Yeah.
Riley Reif in Cincinnati, I'm just going to be on record as saying this. The Cincinnati Bengals fans, the city of Cincinnati, the state of Ohio, and basically anybody that wears a tiger stripe hates me.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that. You know, I don't... I mean, it kept me up some nights.
Oh, I'm sure it did. You're crying yourself to sleep.
I just really don't like when people don't like me.
You passed on a probably no doubt all-pro left tackle.
To get for Riley Reif, and people keep telling me so wonderful. However, Riley Reif does make me like Joe Mixon. You know what? I'm going to ride the Joe Mixon train till I die. Joe Mixon is my ride or die. I will have him in every fantasy league I can.
I feel like this is going to be a year. If they can keep him healthy, he's going to go bonkers.
I'm just drunk on Riley Reif.
Yeah.
Or I'm drunk on Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
And Riley Reif helps that. That's what I was trying to say. Cameron Irving with Carolina, they think he can play left tackle.
I don't know why.
I don't buy that. I think Brady Christensen may end up being the left tackle of this team.
He could be.
And everything I've heard out of that camp kind of lends itself to that. Then you get into the Kevin Zeitlers. J.K. Dobbins is a guy you're going to hear me talk about a billion times.
Yeah, I think
I don't know that I can get to where he's being drafted because he's going ahead of some guys that I feel much better about. I'm probably going to be on the Gus Edwards train on the backside, hoping maybe that Gus snakes a few touchdowns early on, and I can convince the J.K. Dobbins owner to trade him to me at a little discount, 2 or 3 weeks into the season.
Yeah, for a handcuff.
Rodney Hudson in Arizona.
Yes, huge for Chase Edmonds.
Another one that I'm all aboard, the Chase Edmonds train. Alex Mack, you'll hear me talk about Raheem Mostert. That's a guy I was on all year last year. I'm going to be on him again this year. I really, really, really like running. If Raheem Mostert can stay healthy, I'm going to be happy with Raheem Mostert.
It's just the San Francisco running back situation always frustrates me. It was like it kind of
Well, they ride the hot hand.
Yeah.
The Jets are going to be the same way this year. I should have mentioned Ali Villanueva when we were talking about Kevin Zeitler.
Yeah.
That plays into the
J.K. Dobbins.
Into the J.K. Dobbins thing.
Gus Edwards.
And then, I had to get Dan Feeney on screen just because he's the only person that has a better mullet than I do.
Yeah, and he was
And he's just crushing beers at Islanders games.
Yeah, that's awesome that those guys are showing up there. There was a meme coming out about Zach Wilson showing up in the first quarter of the game looking like an old pretty boy. And then, by quarter 3, he's like, yeah! And he's hammered. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about there.
Yeah, he also showed up to game 3, I think, with his girlfriend.
Yeah.
And I went, well, coffee's for closers, and you take yours from 2 creams, don't you there, buddy boy?
He did pretty well.
He did fine in life.
Yeah.
Between his mother and his girlfriend, that is and him for that matter, that is one freaking attractive household, is all I'm trying to say.
Yes.
And that's my quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
That's my quarterback.
Oh, armchair commentary just said, periods, you dummy. You're right. I'm sorry. I'm not the hockey guy.
What did I say?
I said quarters.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, I don't think I said. That shit drives me nuts.
I definitely said quarters, and I apologize to you, armchair commentary, because I should be better. I mean, I practically grew up in Canada, so.
Yeah, he ain't wrong.
I mean, I'm from upstate New York.
I grew up down here in the South where it's always hotter than shit, and we didn't have ice.
Yeah.
The only ice we had was in our sweet tea.
Yeah.
So, but I will say one thing that you'll learn about me: if you can't use the terminology of sports right, it drives me insane.
Yeah.
There is no phrase on planet Earth that pisses me off more that doesn't come from him sometimes than make a touchdown. If you ever say make a touchdown to me, I'm going to yell at you.
Yeah.
Whether I know you or not, I don't care. It drives me absolutely fucking nuts.
Yeah.
And that little rant was brought to you
by Jeremy Greene.
No. By Manscaped.
Oh!
Manscaped.com. Use promo code SPORTSOCRACY to get 20% off your order at Manscaped.com. Free shipping in the domestic United States. Your first home was your father's balls, and it's time for a long overdue housewarming present for your first home. Get Dad something at Manscaped.com. Use our promo code SPORTSOCRACY and get 20% off your order plus free shipping in the United States. Manscaped.com. Promo code SPORTSOCRACY. I'm getting better at that.
Absolutely.
I'm Jeremy Greene. He's Brian Haynes. This has been a lot of fun.
And good day today.
They don't really ever leave us alone to drive the car, but Tank had some things to take care of this morning. He will be back in the morning.
I think we did pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, hey, we didn't at any point just look at each other and go, hey, I'm going to stab you in the neck with a knife, which we did yesterday.
Yeah.
Be sure to go to monkeyknifefight.com, use the promo code TANK, T-A-N-K, in the little promo code box. Be sure to play my more or less 3.6x multiplier tonight with the LA Clippers and the Utah Jazz. For Brian Haynes, I'm Jeremy Greene. As always, we've been brought to you by Wicked Weed Brewing. Be sure to check out our friends Wicked Weed Brewing at wickedweedbrewing.com and drink different. We will see you at 3 this afternoon on the iHeartRadio app or in the Asheville area at 92.9, 880 and 1400. And we'll see you tomorrow morning live here in the Wicked Weed Studios at 9 a.m.